Good evening. I'm David Swotek reporting from our new studio with your sports ticker. 4 Nebraska head coaching contracts have been officially extended after some very successful seasons. These coaches include head coach for men's gymnastics Chuck Schmelka through April 30th, 2028, women's bowling head coach Paul Klempa through June 30th of 2029, and both head track and field coach Justin St. Clair and softball head coach Rhonda Revelle through June 30th of 2030. And speaking of track and field, 3 men's track and field athletes are repeats as academic All-Americans. On the first team, Michaela Moore and Tyus Wilson earned this amazing award, and Till Steinforth got into the second team. These selections bring the all-time total selections to 45 academic All-Americans. And finally, an update on the basketball match across the world. Leo Curtis is a key member representing Iceland. And this morning, Iceland faced off against Italy, and even though Curtis scored 11 points and 7 rebounds, it wasn't enough. Coming up next is the first hour of Sports Nightly, right here on the Huskers Radio Network.
Coming to you live from Memorial Stadium, it's Sports Nightly. All the Huskers, all the time. Sports Nightly is presented to you by the NDOT Highway Safety Office, who remind you to buckle up and put the phone down.
Creighton's got it. Center dump. Kendra, wait, no. Nebraska bumps it again. Harper for the match. Off the ticket out. Call the grandkids. They did it. 15-10. Set 5. Nebraska keeps beating Creighton. 23-0 all time. That was a volleyball match.
Gets the snap, back to throw, steps, throws, intercepted, picked off Malcolm Hartzog at the Nebraska 43-yard line. It's his 4th career INT.
Horn has the sign. He comes set, and the 3-2 pitch. Popped up, playable, shallow left. Carey makes the call, backing up, and he makes the catch on his 118th pitch. Ty Horn has 8 shutout here in the championship.
Now, here are your hosts, Jessica Coody and Nick Hanley, on the Huskers Radio Network.
Hey everybody, welcome into another full 2 hours of Sports Nightly here on the Huskers Radio Network, and we have got a fun show, jam-packed show lined up for you here over the next couple of hours. We're going to hear from Mason McConaughey. Nick had a chance to chat with him after being drafted in the 4th round over the weekend in the Major League Baseball draft. We've got Peter Kobelt, the men's tennis head coach, who's coming off one of the best seasons in program history. A summer update with him coming up in hour number 2, and our conversations with a few of the football players as they've been going through media day all week. So we're going to continue that tonight with Gunnar Gulla in hour number 2, and then we've got some golf picks. And Nick, I have reined in Kyle. He is going to participate with us tonight, so we'll have him join us here in the segment. I guess in hour number 2.
I'm laughing because it's just another one to get a leg up on me. That's all. You guys just, I know you all have your opinions right now. It's okay.
He told me, he's like, well, I don't really know much about golf. I was like, listen, you don't need to know very much to beat Nick. I mean, Jake didn't know anything and still was able to beat Nick. So it's not that hard. Just follow the odds and you'll be just fine. You'll beat Nick.
I've earned that type of narrative. That's fine. You know, I'm gonna be like the Phoenix Rising though. It's okay.
We'll
just
see.
Wait.
We'll
I'll
see.
I'll be up at 2 a.m. getting an early start and watching this thing.
Oh, okay. So a couple things wanted to get into here off the top of the segment. Camden had this in the ticker, but how about the contract extensions for the 4 coaches here as Huskers announcing today that Troy Dannon has extended the contracts of Justin St. Clair, who is no doubt one of the best track coaches in all of college sports. Rhonda Revelle, we love her around here. Paul Klempa, Husker Bowling is a dynasty. And Chuck Schmelka of Nebraska men's gymnastics also been here a long time. So very fitting and very deserving for those 4 coaches to have that here this afternoon.
I think you and I had this conversation not that long ago about the hierarchy of the athletic department, the leadership, maybe the better way to describe it is the leadership style and how different athletic directors maybe go about how they manage the coaches within the department. And I think the common theme and feeling around the athletic department is that, Troy Dannon is someone that is going to have expectations of this athletic department and the coaches that represent it is not going to be looking over their shoulder the entire way, is going to offer himself as a resource as opposed to well, you better do this or else. He's not a micromanager, but I think the other part about Troy Dannon's style is what I immediately thought of today when I saw these extensions, and that is, if you do right by this athletic department and you represent this athletic department to where you are achieving success on the field, yes, off the field too, but we spent so much time talking about it and really praising the job that this athletic department did with the Learfield Cup standings, and one of the better showings that Nebraska's had in a very long time, and the coaches that were integral in that success this season, and the improvements that have been made by some of those coaches from last year just to this year too. It shows that you have a leader that if you are able to accomplish that high standard that Nebraska Athletics has, you will be rewarded for this. There's that incentive right there. And I think all four of those coaches fit that exact bill.
So for Revelle and St. Clair, their extensions now run through June 30th, 2030. And with softball and just the momentum that Coach Revelle has, and I think you could argue maybe she's hitting the best of that she's been in her career. And just with Jordy Ball and the amount of little girls now that are it's being embedded in them. Hey, I want to play for Nebraska, and just I know there's been a lot of young Nebraska players that have felt that for a long, long time. But I think just with the amount of momentum that players want to come be a part of this, and you even go back to when Jordy had, she wanted to play here, but then when it got a little shaky with the things that were going on with Coach Revelle, that's who she wanted to play for. Well, that's when she went elsewhere. And so you're showing that stability of someone with Coach Revelle, and even Coach St. Clair, that, hey, we're going to have some stability here for some years. And so that's important to these recruits to know that, hey, you're investing in these coaches that they fall in love with in the recruiting process and want to play for.
Yeah, I think it's a very important point you bring up there, Jessica, because, and let's use softball as you were talking about that, and I'll use that as an example of the type of season, but also that ability to pivot into the college landscape of the transfer portal, and being able to not only get a player like Jordy Ball, getting her back home after everything has settled and there's stability with this softball program, but being able to build around a key figure of that roster in Jordy Ball, continuing to be active in the transfer portal, continuing to kick the tires of local products that had maybe initially passed on Nebraska, but then all of a sudden had left their previous school and were hoping that they would get scooped up by Nebraska and by this softball program. Obviously, those players are not all going to be there till 2030. So what do you do with that momentum? As you pointed out, there's momentum with this softball program being in the Super Regional and really being one game away from going to the Women's College World Series and having that exact goal zeroed in on. If Nebraska is able to, at the very least, get back to where they were a year ago in a Super Regional, you got tremendous momentum. So I think it's a great point you bring up there. You want to make sure that as you're capitalizing off that success and that national branding that comes with that type of success, when your regionals and super regionals are being seen on ESPN, and hopefully a Women's College World Series appearance where you get just the ultimate promotion of your program, and how that is received by some recruits that can absolutely change the fortunes or keep things rolling. First things first, you want to make sure that you're going to be recruited by a coach that's going to be there for your next 3 to 4 years too. That stability, as you talk about, is so big. It's one thing to have a championship contender program and feel like you're right there with key pieces like a Jordy Ball and the players around that. But as you look for that next wave of players, that you're going to have that coach there for the foreseeable future. That's absolutely what today signifies, especially when I think of just the softball part of this.
Well, and listen to, I just had 2 conversations today with players that transferred here, both basketball players, that went through the recruiting process and had a really hard time telling Fred no the first time, and Price Sanford, and then and Emily Fisher with women's basketball had a really hard time telling Amy no, but they maintain that relationship, and so you also never know when that might come back around, and that's why ultimately I think a big part of these two players that are going to be big pieces of these two basketball programs. Yep. They were able to come back out of the transfer portal because of the relationships they built with those coaches the first time around. So it maintains to be an important thing for players to who they're playing for, their head coach, the stability there, and maintaining those relationships. So another thing I think that I take away from this, and you and I have talked a lot about this over the course of the last couple months with everything, how it's unfolded with the revenue sharing. And there's no doubt there are programs that are going all in on certain sports. And, hey, we're going to be really, really good at these sports, and maybe the other ones, it's just don't matter as much. But for Troy Dannon, he wants to be successful at every single sport here at Nebraska. And so this is another nod to that, to me, in my opinion, that you are locking in and rewarding with contract extensions these four coaches.
Yeah, that's a good point, too, because you think about this day and age of investing into student athletes. Well, maybe there are certain programs that you can't necessarily opt in when it comes to rev share or be able to put a chunk of that money into the overall revenue share. So what's the next best thing? Investing into leadership. And that's exactly what Nebraska did. That's what Troy Dannon did today. I think of a perfect example of this would be women's bowling and how consistently successful that program and Paul Klempa have been. So you're not necessarily saying, hey, the revenue share is going to be there for individual bowlers, and I don't know what that looks like when it comes to name, image, likeness. I'm not well-versed on the bowling side of it, but what I do know is success. And if you're at the very least going to send a message to your student athletes, even if you can't give them a decent portion of that revenue share pie, what you can do is say, we're going to take care of your head coach. That person is going to be here for a while so you can continue to recruit, continue to do what's working when it comes to evaluating talent and being able to play and bowl, in this case, at a very high level. So I think that's something that I think, Jessica, gets lost in the whole revenue share conversation is what are you doing for the student athletes? What type of money are you putting in their pocket, or at least having that opportunity to earn? There's going to be certain sports where you can't necessarily say, here's what we can give you, the individual. But there is something you can do of, hey, we don't have to necessarily use this revenue share, but what we can do is we can make sure that coach that recruited you, that you love playing for, we're taking care of them and giving them the resources for you as the team to be successful. And hopefully by you being successful, you as a team being successful, there's monetary opportunities when it comes to name, image, likeness, and the whole collective part of this conversation too. So I think it is a trickle-down effect, but I'm glad you brought that up because I don't think the investment into coaches gets discussed enough with what's going on with revenue share.
Yeah, we're going to hear another one of those that Troy Dannon and Peter Kobelt, who is a young rising star in the men's tennis college world, and we heard Troy Dannon really bragging about him when the team made the NCAA tournament, which added to that overall point total of the Directors' Cup standings. You know, it's a collective effort, but you know he's going to talk. I talked with him yesterday, and so you're going to hear him talking about the Troy Dannon and wanting to win and what can he do to help you win. And I will say this: I do know that Akrs, our great friends at Akrs, have provided some NIL opportunities for that bowling program. But that even if the rev share part from internally in the athletics department isn't fair or not like split evenly, right, for everybody.
Right.
You have these coaches that are the leaders that you are investing in that do have those relationships that have been out there grinding and trying to get those opportunities for their student athletes. And that's important too, is just those relationships and what they've been able to build and establish for their own individual programs that they're going to fight for outside of just the rev sharing part of it, because the NIL and all of that is still going to be an important part. And hey, your head coaches and who's going out there and selling your programs, that is a key to that.
First of all, Coody, you're on a roll right now. Okay, if this is a sign of things to come for the next 2 hours, this is going to be one of the better shows we've ever had because you're hitting so many really good and I think very fascinating points. Because so last year I was at a baseball NIL event, and I remember it was an event that had current donors, people that were involved with 1890, and probably potential donors or folks that were baseball fans that were maybe 50-50 on whether they wanted to go all in and help out name, image, likeness for baseball in particular. And Will Bolt gets up before everybody goes off to their respective holes in the shotgun start in this golf outing. And he's talking about this team. He's talking about the things that they just accomplished this previous year, but the guys that are coming back. And he's mentioning some of the individuals that had remarkable seasons. So right there in an event, you have a head coach that's really talking and endorsing these young men and young women and talking about the great things that they're doing on and off the field, lifting them up, kind of discussing those individual profiles. So it's an interesting part of this whole new world of college athletics where you get the person on campus, you get them the scholarship, and they play for you when you get a chance to talk on the radio, or maybe you're talking to a Rotary Club or any type of group. You're always going to prop those kids up because you're proud of them. But now those words have even more meaning when it comes to their opportunity to make money while they're at college. And these coaches know that. So all of those events, especially these events when it comes to 1890 being involved, NIL events where you can generate more in that pool when it comes to the collective, when it comes to name, image, likeness, these coaches are very much aware of that, and they're doing a good job of endorsing their student athletes, endorsing their players, promoting them. So people have a chance to see the good things that they're doing both on and off the field and say, hey, you know what? I want to be a part of not only this baseball program, but I'd like this individual here. I like what he's doing in the classroom and on the field. I think he'd be a good representative of our product, and we'd like him to endorse that for a potential deal that we could have through NIL.
There are a lot of coaches here at Nebraska I'd have a hard time saying no to, but at the top of the list is Rhonda Revelle. I don't know if I could say no to her ever.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's that passion. And that's another thing that I feel is very common when you look at starting with Troy Dannon with the coaches that are here, is not only are they passionate about the sport that they coach, and a lot of them played that sport and they played it at a high level. So there's that natural competitiveness in it, but there is that demand out of their student athletes that they want the very best for them. And they're going to be at times hard on them. They're going to try to push them because they know what's on the other side of that if they can push them the right way. I just think that there is that passion when they are trying to fire up their team before a big game, but also even more so what I've noticed in the last couple of years, that passion when they have a chance to brag about their players and talk very highly about their players. And to me, that's not lip service. To me, that's genuine. That is the genuine appreciation for those student athletes doing what these coaches are asking and expecting them to do. And it's not easy. And now you have a chance to not only brag about them, but maybe by bragging about them and showing that passion, it's going to turn into some fortunes for these players too.
All right, great stuff. We've got to get to a break, so you have plenty of time to chat up with Mason McConaughey. Cannot wait for that conversation. So Nick had a chance to chat with him as he just heard his name called in the Major League Baseball draft. So we're going to hear from him coming up right after this segment. The Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center is sponsored by Akrs, the Midwest premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Akrs, solutions for every field.
It's the summer sales event with the Ford Groom.
Sam, 30 seconds on the clock. The Ford Summer Sales Event.
Great time to buy.
Correct. What do we have amazing deals on this summer?
Ford trucks and SUVs.
Is Ford America's all-time best-selling auto brand?
Let me think. Yeah, it is.
3 for 3.
What do I win?
You get to work at the Ford Summer Sales Event.
Amazing. I think I was going to do that anyway.
You betcha.
Based on Automotive News Almanac historical data and industry-reported sales data from 1909 through 2024 CY. Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
On game day, every play counts. Now imagine having the same level of control in your field. Valley is where farming meets end zone efficiency. With AgSense remote irrigation technology, farmers become the MVPs of their fields. Real-time, play-by-play control means you're always ahead of the game. Score big with simplified irrigation technology from Valley, improving your life both on and off the field. Find your local Valley dealer at valleyirrigation.com.
Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic for better health. Why chiropractic? Because it's safe, drug-free, and a cost-effective treatment option for back and joint pain. Plus, all generations can benefit from natural chiropractic care. Choose chiropractic first for pain relief or to improve your mobility, athletic performance, or overall wellness. Make chiropractic your first choice for better health, and find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraskachiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
Make this summer unforgettable with a new ride from Woodhouse Chevy. Whether you're heading to the lake, the campsite, or just cruising with the windows down, we'll help you find the perfect vehicle to get you there in style and comfort. Explore current offers happening now online, or visit us in store at one of our 2 locations in Omaha and Missouri Valley. Woodhouse Chevy. Together, let's drive.
I would have never had the chance to see my daughter become a doctor.
Because my mom wore her seatbelt that day, I get to hug her when I go home.
And then it clicked. Because I wore my seatbelt, I learned that one moment in time can change a person's life forever.
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
The day we were hit was the second to last day of our high school careers.
We were about to graduate as best friends together.
And then it clicked. Because we wore our seatbelt that day, we still get to experience life together.
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
For farmers, sustainability is a way of life. 97% of farms are family-owned, and 95% are participating in conservation programs and using sustainable practices.
I'm Ann Meese, a farmer near Elgin, Nebraska. I grew up on this land, and we're dedicated to being good stewards and leaving it better for the next generation.
Since 1980, U.S. soybean farmers have boosted production by 130%. All while lowering emissions and improving land and water use. Nebraska soybeans, feeding, fueling, and innovating for the future.
When you're in the stands and have the ability to control your irrigation in the field, it's a game-changing moment. Valley is where farming meets end zone efficiency. With AgSense remote irrigation technology, farmers become the MVPs of their fields. Experience real-time, play-by-play action and control that keeps you ahead. Score big with irrigation technology from Valley. It's technology that improves your life and lets you be at the game and in the game. Find your local Valley dealer at valleyirrigation.com.
Welcome back to Sports Nightly here as we are talking some baseball. As the Major League Baseball draft just took place, we knew that there was a good chance that our next guest would hear his name be called, but the question is, when would it happen? And excited to not only bring on Mason McConaughey, but to also say that Mason, you can correct me if I'm wrong on this one, but I would say this was probably as good as expected. 4th round, 115th overall pick to the Texas Rangers. So on behalf of Husker Nation and everybody at Huskers Radio Network, congratulations first and foremost on something that's been very well deserved on your end.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, it was a super exciting day. Super blessed for the opportunity and kind of ready to attack things.
So how'd you spend the day?
Yeah, so I was back home in Topeka, Kansas. Had a few family members over, just the main immediate. Had a couple friends. Didn't want the whole big thing, but yeah, it was a stressful morning. There's a lot of variables that go down in the draft. There was uncertainty, and then it all happened so fast, and it was all just pure joy, and yeah, super awesome.
And for a lot of people out there that maybe don't know how the process works and everything that goes along with it, you know that there's probably a range that you're hearing from your advisors, you're hearing from different scouts. For you, when did those conversations begin as far as where you could hear your name, what potential landing spots could exist? Just kind of take us through that process if you can.
Yeah, so we had heard it was definitely going to be day 2. To be honest with you, I watched the first 15 picks of day 1, and then we went and hung out with some family friends. I didn't even watch the 2nd or 3rd rounds. I probably should have, but we had heard day 2 specifically, and then there were obviously multiple organizations that were interested. And then it kind of went quiet there for a second, and obviously you're stressed out. It's a very high stressful day, and we were expecting to be there till, well, about an hour and a half later. And then about a couple picks before I ended up getting selected, my advisor called me and was like, "Hey, get ready, it's happening." And it was just a whirlwind of emotions, and everybody was super super excited, and we brought everybody out, and then yeah, it was very special.
So did you wait until the announcement was officially made to tell everybody in the room, or did you hint to it? What was your unveiling to your friends and family when you got that phone call?
Yeah, so typically some guys have like a 10 to 15 minute window of where they know they're going to go. For me, it was actually, I had about 30 seconds. So I know the pick before me was the Reds, and they were on the TV, and I got a phone call from my advisor, and he had called and basically just said, "Look, you're going right now." And I was like, "Okay, what pick?" And he was like, "Right now." And then it came across the tracker on TV, and it said that Texas was on the clock, and I was like, "Oh, you're not kidding." And then everybody else kind of gathered around because we honestly weren't expecting that quick. So it was awesome.
That's amazing. And you know, for you, I the next question would be, first and foremost, how is the physical therapy? How's the rehab process working out for you right now?
Yeah, rehab's going great. Credit to our strength coach, Garrett Plumley. He's done an amazing job. Credit to our athletic trainer, Tanner Fowler. Again, done an amazing job. I've been with those guys multiple hours every day, working hard, and they deserve this just as much as I do. But rehab's going great. There hasn't been any setbacks. We've been smashing goals. I'm 15 weeks post-op today, so continuing just trying to strengthen that elbow and kind of just enhance the muscles that I may have lost throughout the 6 to 8 week interval within the brace. But yeah, it's rehab's going great.
You're in rare company. You're the eighth fourth round selection in Nebraska history with that 115th overall pick in the fourth round. You knew that this was a goal of yours to hear your name in the Major League Baseball draft and to have that opportunity to showcase what you can do at the next level. At any point after the injury, you know, we go back to that Sam Houston State game, and you can obviously tell something's not right. You find out the news that I'm sure you were hoping wasn't going to be the case with the UCL. But at any point during that process, and I think you'd only be human if you did, ever doubt what that future, what the goal looked like after that injury?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'd be lying if I said there was never not a doubt or not severe but high stress.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, my main concern, even when I was pitching or when I wasn't pitching, was my main focus was on the University of Nebraska winning ball games. In my opinion, the external factors would take care of itself, whether that was the draft or so on after. But as long as Nebraska baseball was winning, I felt like I was able to contribute to that, and then therefore the rest would take care of itself down the road. Now, when I ended up getting hurt and wasn't able to be out there physically, yeah, there was some doubt, but then at the same time, I knew that the guys around me made sure to be there for me, coaching staff, everybody, and then at the same time, I was able to still be around the team and be a leader in the clubhouse and be a voice and just hang out with the guys like usual. So yeah, they all were awesome throughout the whole entire process.
Talking to Mason McConaughey, he is headed to the Texas Rangers organization after the Major League Baseball draft this past weekend. And Mason, I was telling Jessica about this on Sports Nightly, what you just brought up there. And I compared it a little bit to Rink Mass with the men's basketball team. He goes through the season-ending knee surgery, but he's still a very visible presence during timeouts, during games. He looked like a coach. There were times that we would be on road trips, and we would, first of all, it's great that the Big Ten was able to clear you and allow you to travel, because it just seemed like your presence was very uplifting to that group. And there's so many young arms on this roster that do you feel like that gave you also a different perspective on how to pitch, but also just seeing the game more from the dugout and more from maybe even a bit of a mentor or teacher role that could ultimately impact you in a positive way as you go forward here to the next level?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, probably the last 8 weeks of the year, even the weekend series, I was able to travel to all the away games, but I was down in the bullpen for the late game scenarios, kind of getting the guys riled up, getting them ready to go in and be as competitive as possible. But at the same time, being as a starter, you only get to throw one night a week, so you still analyze the games when you're not throwing, but not being able to go out there and compete. I was able to see the game from a different perspective, see it from the sidelines, be able to see how people react, be able to see how guys click, and even talk to different guys and try and take stuff away that might help me down the road. And at the same time, if younger guys had questions, they were able to ask me or any other leader or older guy in the clubhouse and be able to lean on them and just help shorten the learning curve for them.
What do you chalk up, Mason, to the development that you had, and to ultimately get to this point to where you're going to be able to play this game, make money doing so, and have a career out of this? At what point for you did that feel like a reality? And is there any contributing factors, any development along the way that you thought, hey, without this, I wouldn't be here?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many people to name throughout my entire journey and my entire process. It goes back to high school, it goes back to JUCO at Cloud, it goes back to the University of Nebraska here. I would say the turning point for me from a pitching standpoint was after my sophomore fall. Understanding how to flip the switch and go out there into a competitive mode on the mound, enhancing my mental game and mental skill strength out on the mound. And I credit Coach Childress and Coach Bolt and everybody on the coaching staff there. Um, just being able to uh, turn the screws the right way for me, and being able to flip that switch and go into it and just attack each and every day. And it really helped me simplify the game and not be a perfectionist in a sense, but just go out there and use the tools that God's given me.
Well, and I think last year it was interesting to watch, Brett Sears have this tremendous season as that Friday night guy, but then all of a sudden, here comes Mason McConaughey as almost 1B. And you see the preseason honors really reflecting the type of year that you had. Just what did you take away from even Brett Sears? And especially for a season that you had last year where you only got better and better each time you went out.
Yeah, I would definitely talk with Brett. We didn't necessarily pitch the same, but he had a great mindset and a great way to go about the game each and every Friday night, and it was awesome to go out there and watch him dominate. And if anybody knows Brett, he's a very even keel guy. He says it how it is. He works hard, and to be honest, he doesn't care what other people think. And really learning that and watching him go out there and dominate, it kind of shone a light on how important that is and how important it is to just go out there and trust your stuff and attack. And yeah, I would say he was a big influence on my career. So.
What was the biggest adjustment you had to make? And this could even be when you were pitching JC ball to getting to Nebraska, but where you had to, as a obviously very talented arm, but having to be that quote college pitcher, to be able to pitch your way out of some problems, but also to think like a college pitcher. What was the biggest adjustment you had to make to be effective and to show what you showed last year even?
Yeah, even transferring into the University of Nebraska my sophomore year, it wasn't pretty at all. I struggled my sophomore fall, and for me it was being able to have a short memory and say you walk a guy, not letting it snowball and not giving up two or three mistakes rather than just one mistake, being able to settle back in and hone in on getting the next guy. And I think that goes to the mental fortitude that I've learned from the coaching staff and players around me, and being able to clear it and go right back out there on the mound and dominate.
I want to ask you the perspective that you had as well. You see this season unfold. It doesn't get off to the start, obviously for you, but also for this team. Doesn't get off to the start that everybody was hoping for, at least into that first full month of baseball. and then all of a sudden things start to turn around a little bit. You get into the tournament, and again, you're a big part of that presence and what Nebraska ultimately accomplished. Can you compare this season to any?
Just being present in the moment, and I felt like from then on, we played our best baseball down the stretch, and we really found out who we were, and we just trusted each other and just surrendered to the outcome.
I know you're not a guy that's known to do impressions, but you were around Rob Childress a lot. What's your favorite or best Rob Childress moment?
There's a lot of them, to be honest with you. He comes up with a new one-liner each and every day. So my favorite one probably was my sophomore fall when Jalen Worthley couldn't jump rope properly, and all I just kept saying was, "This ain't freestyle, J-Dub," and we had to continue jump roping. So yeah, but he's an awesome guy. I love Coach Childress, and I'll forever be grateful for him.
Before I let you go, what's next? So you get the call. I know before you know it, you're going to have a plan of attack. You're still trying to get 100% healthy too. So what does the process from here on out look like for you now?
Yeah, so I'll be leaving here in the next week probably to go down and finish up my rehab in Surprise, Arizona with the Rangers Complex League. And just make a plan of attack there and just take every step and enjoy the process and enjoy the opportunity and go out there and dominate. So,
well, Mason, again, congratulations. So well-deserved. I wish we would have saw you more this season, and the way that you've attacked this injury is admirable, and I don't think anybody expected anything less out of what you've put forward, but just awesome stuff. Everyone that's watched you play, I know is so proud. And again, like I said, nobody's surprised that you're able to accomplish this, but can't wait to see what you do at the next level. And we know it's going to be soon when we get that cool reminder from Jared Meister saying, "Hey, I think Mason's about to get called up." We're looking forward to getting that news with you.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having me on today.
That is Mason McConaughey, the 115th overall pick, 4th round for Nebraska, as he is headed to the Texas Rangers. We got more Sports Nightly. Don't go anywhere.
With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, you get coverage options based on how much you want to pay for car insurance. And then you decide how to spend the rest of your money, because you're in charge. And right now, you're going to pay for groceries. But you decide what groceries. Just keep in mind you're running out of dishwashing soap. But you decide if you're going to buy that soap. It's just those dishes won't clean themselves, will they? Remember, with Progressive's Name Your Price tool, we'll help you find coverage at a fair price. And then you're in charge. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
At Woodhouse Ford, we're here to help you elevate your summer plans with a vehicle built for every destination. Lease the 2025 Ford Bronco Sport Big Bend for $279 per month for 36 months and 7,500 miles per year from Woodhouse Ford in Omaha. First payment and $299 doc fee due at signing. Shop online or visit us in store at one of our 3 convenient locations in Blair, Omaha, and Plattsmouth. With approved credit, tax, title, license extra, security deposit waived. Must trade a 2018 or newer vehicle to qualify. Stock number FC250323. Vehicle is a courtesy retired loaner. Offer expires 8/4/2025. See dealer for details.
Nebraska soybeans power everyday products, from Goodyear tires and Skechers shoes to soy-based turf and fire suppressants. These innovations replace petroleum and utilize other components of the soybean, leading to more sustainable products worldwide.
I'm Doug Sadoff, a farmer near Trumbull, Nebraska. Thanks to cutting-edge research, soybeans are now in everything from tires to turf. It's amazing to see how these advancements are unlocking new potential for our crops.
Soybeans are a win for every product and everyone. Nebraska soybeans, feeding, fueling, and innovating for the future.
Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic for better health. Why chiropractic? Because it's safe, drug-free, and a cost-effective treatment option for back and joint pain. Plus, all generations can benefit from natural chiropractic care. Choose chiropractic first for pain relief or to improve your mobility, athletic performance, or overall wellness. Make chiropractic your first choice for better health, and find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraskachiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
On game day, every play counts. Now imagine having the same level of control in your field. Valley is where farming meets end zone efficiency. With AgSense remote irrigation technology, farmers become the MVPs of their fields. Real-time, play-by-play control means you're always ahead of the game. Score big with simplified irrigation technology from Valley, improving your life both on and off the field. Find your local Valley dealer at valleyirrigation.com.
I got to see my brother get married.
I would have missed my dad's birthday.
Because I wore my seatbelt, I had the privilege of being part of his special day.
I got to go home and see my family again.
Does it click yet?
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
I would have never had the chance to see my daughter become a doctor.
I was able to go to my brother's graduation.
I wouldn't have adopted my first pet.
And then it clicked. My seatbelt saved my life. Does it click yet?
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Strength meets style in your new vehicle from Woodhouse GMC. Save up to $9,597 off MSRP on the 2025 GMC Sierra 1500 Denali Crew Cab 4x4. Woodhouse Buick GMC. We are professional grade. With approved credit. Must own a 2011 for newer passenger car or truck, including 3/4 ton and 1-ton pickups and vans, and trade in their vehicle. Tax title license extra. $299 doc fee due at signing. Offer applied to select stock numbers. Stock number B250680. Offer expires August 4th, 2025. See dealer for details.
Hey Huskers, stop by your local Hy-Vee where they've lowered prices on thousands of the items you use every day. Hy-Vee, dedicated to making your life easier, healthier, and happier. Welcome back to Sports Nightly. Jessica Coody, Nick Hanley here. Nick just had a great conversation with Mason McConaughey. Man, so happy for him, especially given there's probably some downtimes for him last season, but it's all rewarded, and he kind of went overboard or went above and beyond for you to be able to talk to him. And he actually even answered your phone call during a celebration party.
I know that's where I couldn't be more appreciative of him doing that. When I say he's just one of those naturally good kids, you know, we're around so many of them. You know how that is too. You're around so many of them as well. It makes that type of accomplishment more rewarding, I think, for a lot of us who follow those student athletes. Jason is definitely one of them. He's one of my son's favorite players too. Not quite at the level of Will Jeske, but he's right there. In fact, I told Reese at his skating lesson on Monday night that Mason had gotten drafted and he's going to be in big leagues very soon. And he didn't even say anything. He just had the biggest smile on his face because he's got a baseball that's autographed by Mason McConaughey. But he's and that one of those questions I really wanted to get his thoughts on was just the overall confidence level he had after that injury, because you got to think about where he was from last year going into this year. All of those preseason watch lists, a preseason All-American. He was a second-team All-Big Ten a year ago. I mean, the sky was the limit for him. And this is a guy that was looking to maybe pitch his way into the first or second round. And all of a sudden, so early in the year, in that third weekend, that the worst case scenario, I mean, you can maybe work your way through some shoulder fatigue or a little bit of arm soreness here and there. But, I mean, you're shut down. There's nothing you can do when you get that UCL and have to have the Tommy John surgery. And that can just be so deflating and defeating. And I think it'd only be natural if for a little bit you found yourself isolated. You didn't know, you didn't have the confidence of what is ahead. And are you going to be able to have a full recovery? And are you going to be the same type of pitcher that you were before? And I thought it was very interesting. And I think Mason was very candid on his response that, he'd be lying if there was a little doubt that didn't creep in. And so I appreciate how open he was about that, because as you know, Jessica, being around these student athletes, when those types of rehab, that forecast of what you have in front of you, the type of physical therapy and rehab you have to go through, yeah, sure, it's physically taxing. We know that. But what it can do to each individual athlete mentally is, I think, so unpredictable. And I'm so happy. And none of us are surprised that he took on his workload and did exactly what he was supposed to do. And in a lot of ways, he's ahead of schedule. And he mentioned Garrett Plumlee, who is fantastic strength and conditioning coach for the baseball team, and Tanner Fowler, who is absolutely one of the very best as far as athletic trainers working with them. I don't think anybody's surprised that he's been able to stay on track and in some ways be ahead of schedule. But that mental part of it, when you're not competing in the year that it's supposed to be your year, that's not easy on anybody. And so I'm just happy he was able to get through that and still be rewarded. I mean, 4th round draft pick, that's still pretty significant for a guy who only had 3 starts this year.
I'm glad, too, that there's been some advancements. That used to be just almost a career ender, that it was way harder to come back from. People didn't know if you could come back and be 100%. A little bit like the ACL, how it's evolved as well. But I'm glad. I mean, look at it, Spencer Schwellenbach. I know just the fact that you can come back and be even better than you were before. It also, I think, really helps in certainly in Mason's case that he didn't fall very far in where he could end up in this draft.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that is also your support system around you, from your family to your teammates to your coaches. I mean, all of that is so important. And that was the one thing that I loved, seeing him so engaged. I kept bringing up that comparison of Rink Mast and the way he was so engaged with the basketball team when he was unavailable this season. I think you naturally become someone that the other players, especially those younger players, lean on. And I think that can give you sort of a renewed vigor with your role, even though you can't physically be out there and help the team, that you can maybe fulfill what you're supposed to do with that type of role of being a mentor, kind of a coach, knowing that you still have some big innings in front of you once you get through that injury.
All right, appreciate, again, Mason McConaughey stepping by and spending some time with us here on Sports Nightly. Great conversation there with Nick. Woodhouse has been a trusted partner in your everyday since 1975. Shop for your next vehicle with the home team at Woodhouse and the official auto dealer of Nebraska Athletics. We're back to wrap up hour number 1 next.
At Woodhouse Cadillac, we're redefining your drive with premium performance, advanced technology, and world-class comfort. Lease the 2025 Cadillac Lyriq Sport 1 for $449 a month for 24 months and 10,000 miles per year. Visit us in-store or online at woodhousecadillac.com. With approved credit, tax, title, license extras, first payment, $299 doc fee due at signing. Must currently own and provide proof of ownership of the following 2010 or newer passenger car or truck to qualify: Audi, BMW, Ford, Genesis, Lexus, Lincoln, Mercedes-Benz, Polestar, Rivian, Tesla, or Volvo. Courtesy transportation vehicle with 573 miles. Offer expires 7/31/2025. See dealer for details.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
If there's one thing Nebraska's known for, it's our beef. And Nebraska soybeans feed a lot of them, and even more pigs and chickens.
I'm Jason Pinky, a farmer near Craig, Nebraska. Soybeans are vital for feeding our livestock, and they're also a powerhouse protein source for people worldwide. Our world needs protein, and Nebraska soybeans are making a difference.
From tailgate grills to global plates, farmers deliver affordable, nutritious protein to build muscle and energy for everyone. Nebraska soybeans, feeding, fueling, and innovating for the future.
When you're in the stands and have the ability to control your irrigation in the field, it's a game-changing moment. Valley is where farming meets end zone efficiency. With AgSense remote irrigation technology, farmers become the MVPs of their fields. Experience real-time, play-by-play action and control that keeps you ahead. Score big with irrigation technology from Valley. It's technology that improves your life and lets you be at the game and in the game. Find your local Valley dealer at valleyirrigation.com.
The Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center is sponsored by Akrs, the Midwest premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Akrs, solutions for every field. Welcome back. Final segment here of Sports Nightly with Nick Hanley. I'm Jessica Coody, and we've got a big second hour coming up. We're going to hear from Peter Kobelt, Gunnar Gulla, and then we're going to have some golf picks, and Kyle Crook's going to join us for his first ever pick segment here with us, and he was a little hesitant, but I said, hey, don't worry. It's not hard to beat Nick in these golf picks. So as we always do with the major tournament coming up, we're going to have some pick segment, so Camden's going to be involved as well. So we'll have that to look forward to here in hour number 2. Hopefully you have a different approach this time around, Nick.
You know, on Saturday on that 10th hole, I felt like I was down and out. Maybe I wouldn't be able to get up and down for par, and I pulled off one of the best shots of my golf career to birdie on 10. That's what's going to happen this week. You guys just watch.
Mm-hmm. Okay, you keep Positive thoughts. Hey, Huskers, stop by your local Hy-Vee, where they've lowered prices on thousands of the items you use every day. Hy-Vee dedicated to making your life easier, healthier, and happier. So I want to actually have some time to get into this, so I'll probably have to save this for tomorrow night because we're just so jam-packed. But a lot of talk today about the college football model and the basically the differences, the different stances between the Big Ten and the SEC, the two power leaders. But I don't think I've ever actually flat out asked you what model you prefer, a 4-4-2-2-1 or the 5+11 model.
I still think when it's all said and done, this is going to be maybe not the Big Ten company line response, but I still think the 5+11 is the way to go, because I still have that firm belief that the Big Ten on most years is going to accomplish the goal that they want with the alternative format, where you're guaranteed 4 SEC and 4 Big Ten teams in. I can't imagine a world that the Big Ten is at the very least getting 3, and in a lot of years, I think still getting 4 in a 16-team playoff. Now, the years that maybe that doesn't happen, isn't that kind of good for college football if we get some of the unusual suspects in there? I'm all for that. I love playoff football. That's why I've been a big advocate of seeing 12 go to 16, but I don't know if I want to see it go any further than that. I love playoff football, and I also like sometimes a little bit of a change. So I do think the 5+11 at the end of the day is probably the most fair for all involved. And I think for the Big Ten and the SEC, if there's any worry that you're not guaranteed at least 4 in there, I would say maybe 4 out of 5, 3 out of 5 years, both of those conferences are going to be able to accomplish that.
I just got a couple more minutes left. But yeah, I'm with you, just because with this day and age, things change a lot quicker than they did in the past. And so I would hate to get locked into a model and then you're sitting there thinking, why do we have to do the 4-4-2-2-1? I would much rather have the 5+11, and then it may vary from year to year, obviously, depending on who emerges, who plays well. But that's, I think, why we like the expanded field, is having some of those teams that might not otherwise have a chance to go in there and compete. And if you're the Big Ten or the SEC, if you take care of business, you should be in that field. It shouldn't matter if you're a guaranteed number or not. They've done enough to prove that they should get the nod over other schools.
And what if there was a year that all of a sudden you saw with, and I know even with the other format, where you guarantee SEC, Big Ten 4 each, that it doesn't cap it at 4. But I mean, who's to say in the 5+11 that you don't get the 5 that way too? So I just think having this bare minimum where you're guaranteeing 2 of the power conferences, that most years are going to be worthy of it, but there could be a year where, say, the Big Ten or the SEC's 4th team is not very good or struggles down the stretch and kind of backs their way into the playoff. Is that what we want to see?
All right. Well, remind me, don't let me forget. I wanted to dive into that a little bit more because that's been a huge topic. And we heard Greg Sankey this week talking a lot about it and from the SEC's perspective of it. And then next week, we're going to hear from Tony Petitti about the Big Ten and where they stand and all that. So it'll continue to be a conversation here because they've got to come to a decision before December 1st. That's the deadline. So we'll talk a little bit more about that coming up tomorrow night. All right, that's going to do it for hour number 1, hour 2 of Sports Nightly. Ahead just after this.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
On game day, every play counts. Now imagine having the same level of control in your field. Valley is where farming meets end zone efficiency. With AgSense remote irrigation technology, farmers become the MVPs of their fields. Real-time, play-by-play control means you're always ahead of the game. Score big with simplified irrigation technology from Valley, improving your life both on and off the field. Find your local Valley dealer at valleyirrigation.com.
Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic for better health. Why chiropractic? Because it's safe, drug-free, and a cost-effective treatment option for back and joint pain. Plus, all generations can benefit from natural chiropractic care. Choose chiropractic first for pain relief or to improve your mobility, athletic performance, or overall wellness. Make chiropractic your first choice for better health and find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraskachiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
Want to boost Nebraska's economy and help the planet? It's as easy as filling up your tank. Switch to soy-based biodiesel to cut greenhouse gases by up to 74% and support biodiesel growth.
I'm Greg Anderson, a farmer near Newman Grove, Nebraska, and biodiesel has transformed our farm. It cuts emissions, raises the cetane number, and improves fuel lubricity.
So ask for biodiesel where you fill up. It benefits our air, economy, and Nebraska soybean farmers. Nebraska soybeans, feeding, fueling, and innovating for the future.
Experience the elegance of performance at Infinity of Omaha. Explore special financing and current offers happening now. Receive 0% APR for 60 months or $6,000 dealer incentive on all 2025 Infinity QX80 inventory. Visit our showroom or browse our current offers online at infinityofomaha.com. With approved credit, tax title license extra when financed with Infinity Financial Services. $299 doc fee due at signing. VIN number S9604170. Offer expires 7/31/2025. See dealer for details.
Good evening. I'm David Swotek reporting from our new studio with your sports ticker. 4 Nebraska head coaching contracts have been officially extended after some very successful seasons. These coaches include head coach for men's gymnastics Chuck Chmelka through April 30th of 2028, women's bowling head coach Paul Klempa through June 30th of 2029, and both head track and field coach Justin St. Clair and softball head coach Rhonda Ravel through June 30th of 2030. And speaking of track and field, 3 men's track and field athletes are repeats as academic All-Americans. On the first team, McKaylin Moore and Tyus Wilson earned this amazing award, and Till Steinforth got into the second team. These selections bring the all-time total selections to 45 academic All-Americans. And finally, an update on the basketball match across the world. Leo Curtis is a key member representing Iceland basketball in the 2025 FIBA U20 Eurobasket Championships in Greece. And this morning, Iceland faced off against Italy. And even though Curtis scored 11 points and 7 rebounds, it wasn't enough to catch the win. With this loss, Iceland is now playing in the consolation round and will face Romania on Thursday morning. Coming up next is Hour 2 of Sports Nightly, right here on the Huskers Radio Network.
Coming to you live from Memorial Stadium, it's Sports Nightly. All the Huskers, all the time. Sports Nightly is presented to you by the NDOT Highway Safety Office, who remind you to buckle up and put the phone down.
Tight formation, turn, toss it off to a little end around by Barney. He's at the 10-5, touchdown Nebraska. Jatori Barney slips in there, taking the pitch on the end around from 10 yards out. Nebraska stretches the lead to 20-3.
Pickens with a 1-2. Bland rolls the ground ball to third. Gibson charges, backhand stop, throw the first, the throw, wild, runner safe at first, Squire scores, now Lauren Cabot's in around third, she dives in safely, the throw wide of the plate, Bland around third, she's gonna score, everybody scores, a Little League 3-run home run for Sammy Bland, 3-1 Nebraska.
Between the circles now to Wooster and to Morgan. Back to the basket. Comes left. Dribble handoff to Esijan. Took a bump. Drives it. Puts it up. Got it! Holy smokes, what a great goal by Connor Esijan. He's not just a three-point shooter, my friends. 70-67.
Now, here are your hosts, Jessica Coody and Nick Hanley on the Huskers Radio Network.
Welcome back. Hour number 2 of Sports Nightly. I'm Jessica Coody here with Nick Hanley. And we're going to hear from Gunnar Gulla here in just a few minutes. But Nick, it was funny because as we've talked about, the guys have been coming in and out here, taking their photos, doing all the intro video stuff all throughout this week. And yesterday was the offensive line day. And in walks Henry Lutovsky, and Kyle. He walked right by Kyle, and Kyle looked up there. He said, "That's a Big Ten lineman right there." Yeah, and Henry's going to media days next week, so I'm sure Kyle will talk to him. We might have to pack a step stool in his suitcase or something, I said, wait till you sit next to Teddy Prohaska.
What are you doing to Kyle right now?
What
is that? Is that more of you're sizing up Lutovsky more so than what you're saying? Okay,
Kyle said it. I mean, Kyle said it to me, so I feel like it's okay for me to pass along because I think here's a guy coming from the SEC, and he was pretty wowed by the size of Henry Lutovsky,
That's a good point.
And I said, wait till you see Teddy.
Yeah, Teddy is a large individual as well. I'm excited to hear what Gunnar Gulla has to say, but especially Henry Lutovsky representing that offensive line group at Big Ten Media Days, because another guy that projects to be such a big part of, we talked about it yesterday with that interior that I think is as healthy as far as combination of starts and overall just physical, the physical presence that they have, but also I think that overall ceiling, just that interior, I think represents a lot of excitement with that offensive line. And that doesn't take anything away from what they can do at the tackle spot between Pritchett and what we might see, whether Pritchett is on the left side or the right side. And then guys like Gunnar Gulla, who we're going to hear from, and again, another host of tackles that Nebraska has, that I think there's a reason Henry Lutovsky is representing the offensive line, and one of the 3 student representatives. I'm really excited to hear what he has to say about this offensive line, but also Gunnar Gulla. At least we don't have to wait as long as we will for Henry Lutovsky, because I know we got Gunnar coming up.
Ran into Teddy today, and was it today? I can't. My days are all kinds of. Maybe it was yesterday, but Teddy also told me that he's coming along, progressing really well. And here was another guy you talked about, Mason McConnaughey, and then Rink Mast. Teddy was not going to play last year, and he was still part of the travel party. And I'm right there on the sidelines. He's coaching guys up. He was very much a big kind of voice for Gunnar Gulla. And as Gunnar was getting thrown to the fire and in some situations that he hadn't been in ever, and figuring this thing out game by game. And so the fact that you're limited on how many guys you can fly and all of that. And they gave a spot to Teddy to be able to be there, even though he was not going to be able to play. But I think Teddy's going to be pretty close to 100% or ready to go. Obviously, you still got to work through and get to game speed. But I think both Teddy and Turner both are going to be pretty close to being fully released come start a full camp. And I didn't know if I would have bet on that, a month or so ago. I didn't know. But that's great news that both of those guys, because you got to have that depth at tackle and the fact that you have that experience at tackle as well. So it's good news there that both those guys are progressing along really well.
Isn't it interesting, a year ago, the sense of urgency that not only did Teddy have to physically be right, but he had to be right because he really was the only hope at the tackle position. As far as, if you ask most fans, if Teddy Prohaska is healthy, people feel pretty confident about what he could finally put together. Having that offseason where he didn't have any setbacks with any type of rehab, and then, of course, he gets banged up again, and you're thinking, my gosh, how much more can this kid go through? And you're right, it's kind of the same question I asked Mason of, you have that happen, you can go 2 different directions. You can completely become disinterested with what you're supposed to do every day and just accept that as your fate, that I guess I'm just going to be labeled the guy who's injury prone. Or you can not accept that as your fate. You can stay engaged with the team. You can see the game from a different perspective on the sideline, be a mentor. And then you go into a year where it's not all on you. I mean, not everything is riding this year on Teddy Prohaska being healthy. So I think there's a lot less pressure for him to jump right back into the fire. I think there is some runway there, and I think that's ultimately going to benefit Teddy, and I think it also benefits Turner Corcoran too.
Okay, well, on that note, let's play for you now my conversation that I was able to have with Gunnar Gulla, coming off the surgery, missing through spring, but he's also healthy and has some experience from last season. So here is that conversation. Well, I guess, first of all, how does it feel to be back in this uniform here today?
Feels great. It's been a long road getting back from my injury, so I'm just blessed to be back here, and took a lot of hard work, so yeah.
Okay, give us an update. Where are you at, and how was that process for you coming off the injury?
Yeah, I'll be fully good to go for camp. Just got cleared a couple weeks ago to go for camp. It's a tough road. It's kind of my first major injury, so it was a big change for me. Just kind of the grueling days of doing rehab, things like that, but I have my teammates along my side, the trainers, coaches, so they're there for me, so just had to put in the work.
What were the things that you did to try to maintain outside of the things that you couldn't do on a football field?
Yeah, I was just always making sure I was trying to be there for my teammates, even when I was in like the sling or just I was hurt, things like that. I was just always trying to be with my teammates and keep that bond going if I wasn't playing, and then just being there for them, like during spring ball and I couldn't practice, just trying to help coach them up or just be there for them. So just always trying to stay with the unit.
Okay, so take me back to last year. What a season you had. You're thrown to the fire a little bit when you closed the chapter on last year. What were some of the things you took away from your first kind of season being in that starting role?
Yeah, it was definitely a blessing just being able to do that. Took a lot of hard work to get there, and then just having my coaches' trust and then just my teammates being there for me. Just able to just kind of go out there and play and just take it week by week with preparation and practice, and then just go out there and play ball. What made you ready for that moment? Just countless reps in practice and preparation, always staying ready. I was always prepared like I was going to go out there and play. So then when I got my shot, I just went out there and did what I do. Coach Ryle has always had maintained, hey, you're ready to go. I know Coach Roll was so complimentary of you throughout the entire season. What does that do for you when you have guys that maybe even if you don't have the experience, but you have those kind of leaders that believe in you and what you can bring to the team? Yeah, obviously just knowing that my coaches trust me and that they just trust me to put me out there, and I've seen the work I put in practice. Obviously, that means a lot. And then obviously also my teammates that would help me prepare in practice, not only older O-linemen that help me, but defensive guys I go against. So, yeah, that was just a huge blessing having a lot of people there for me.
Anything you learned just being just in the actual game type competition of it that you're taking over into the season now that you have that experience?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely just the environments in the game, just a whole lot different, just a lot more fans out there, and just some road environments gets really loud. So it's just, obviously it's still it's similar to practice when you're just playing football, but the environments do like take a toll when you're on the road and you got to use silent or things like that. So yeah.
You're a sophomore now, but you've been through this now a few times, this off-season thing. How's it been different this year 3 with Coach Rule, Coach Campbell, just what you guys are accomplishing here during this important time of July?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say there's just been I'd say our group is really focused, and it's a really close-knit group. Just doing a lot of things even outside of football, whether it's just hanging out with the guys and grilling or going golfing, things like that. I'd say we're a really close group. We care for each other a lot, and yeah, I'm really excited for this year. We've been putting in a lot of good work.
Has it been just, Coach Campbell talked about you guys are defending kind of the culture a little bit. Have you feel like maybe a different kind of understanding of what it takes and what this coaching staff wants of you guys?
Yeah, I'd say going into the third year, we know the standards and we know how we operate from a week in, week out basis, whatever time of the year it is. So we know the standards, we know what we have to do. So simply just doing our job.
Well, you played on the line with Justin Evans last year. How has it been for him moving center? How ready is he to take over that center spot?
Yeah, Justin's going to do a great job. He plays really hard. He prepares at an elite level. He does everything the right way, so I'm excited for him.
What makes somebody right for that role, and what makes Justin right for that role?
Justin's just a natural leader, and it's easy to follow him, just how hard he works and just he does everything the right way. So, we have a unit like that, and you see a guy like that who does everything the right way. He's a leader. He plays hard. He's a good friend. So, yeah, I'm excited for him.
Okay, you guys obviously love Coach Raiola in a way that not everybody loves their position coach. What is it about Coach Raiola that you guys just love being around him and love playing for him?
Yeah, I think it's just the feeling of knowing that he truly cares for you and he's there for you. And, whether that's going to be hard coaching or just like kind of just going over film or just getting coached up on all the little things, like just knowing that he's there for you, not only as a player but as a person. Like he's always going to check up on you and be there for you. And that's something that you can really get behind and play for.
You came in with a young group of offensive linemen that I know that are growing into maybe being expected to take on a bigger role. How much fun has that been to have a group of guys that you guys can go along through this process with together?
Yeah, it's really awesome just kind of having, a good group of guys I came in with and then some classes under me as well. It's just really good to get young guys like that just kind of going and working hard. I kind of preach to them and talk about hey, right now you maybe not be a starter or playing right now, but just always preparation is key, and then you never know when your shot is called, so you never know who we'll need for this year. So it's really good. We work really hard.
Okay, tell us what have Rocco and Elijah brought to the O-line room.
Yeah, Rocco and Elijah, they're great dudes. They fit right in. They both bring good experience from Notre Dame and Alabama. Really help our unit out like that, and they're just kind of the guys. Like they fit in really well. Good to hang out with them. So yeah, it's been great having them.
Elijah told us back in the spring that it was different than what he'd experienced, just that how close this O-line group is and how together you guys are. How important is that for this group and passing it along with each new group that comes along? Yeah, it's huge. As offensive line, it's important that all 5 guys are playing as one. So when you're only spending time with each other here at the facility or going over football things, you're not going to have as close-knit of a group as if you're just hanging out with the guys. Just when we have the chance with off time and things like that, just going to do different things. So it's really important that we're a close group. All right, and getting Teddy and Turner back, and some of your leaders in that room, how excited are you for that, and just to have that depth and those guys back on the field? Yeah, that's huge. Those guys work so hard, and they're just great guys, and I'm really excited to have them back. Okay, last thing, just going into fall camp for you now that you've been there, you've done it, you've been a starter. What are you trying to accomplish? What do you look to do for yourself personally throughout fall camp? Just make sure I'm with my unit and just make sure everybody's getting 1% better every day. Just practicing hard, and obviously there'll be ups and downs in camp, but just making sure we stay focused throughout camp and just get ready for the year. I said last thing, but this is the last thing. With Coach Holgerson now, and you guys are familiar with him, how excited are you about what he's going to do with this offense, and how much do you like playing for a guy like Holgerson? Yeah, Coach Holgerson's awesome. Love playing for him. I'm really excited to see what we'll do. I thought we had a really good last 3 games of the year along with the bowl game, so I feel like we've had a good offseason rolling in with our installs, so I'm really excited. Great stuff. I appreciate your time. Yep, thank you. All right, fun conversation there, and again, very encouraging how he feels coming off, and he said, I'd never had a major injury like that, so it was tough at times to miss out through spring football, but he's ready to go. And, man, how many times – well, there was a couple times that I recall last year with Coach Roll when Gunnar got inserted into the starting lineup and people were questioning if he was ready, how he would hold up. And then after the game, nobody was even asking about him. And because he played so well, and he said that's a sign of – obviously, he didn't make a lot of mistakes because you guys aren't even asking me about him, but was just very quick to give Gunnar a lot of praise for what he stepped into last year. Now he has that experience, which continues to bode well for what we all maybe agree could be one of the stronger position groups for this football team going into this year.
Yeah, to make a baseball comparison, it's like the umpiring crew. If you're not talking about them after the game, it's probably good. It's probably because they weren't part of the game, and that's a good thing. They did exactly what they were supposed to do. They kept the game moving. They were consistent with the calls. Same thing at that position, and you're absolutely right, because I remember there were several times where there wasn't a lot of conversation about Gunnar Gulla. And other than, well, he did maybe better than what people expected him to do, kind of being thrown in the fire there. And so that is a great thing. I remember 2 years ago when Bryce Benhart had that fantastic year that – I remember I knew he had a great year because we weren't talking about him, because we didn't have to, because he was doing his job. He was getting it done. Ben Scott last year. How many times did we talk about Ben Scott other than, it's going to be tough to replace Ben Scott? We didn't talk about Ben Scott a whole heck of a lot at all because snaps were on time. He was doing his job. He was stabilizing that interior. So, I mean, I think it's absolutely correct on the offensive line. If you're not talking about them, it's probably a good thing, unless they give you one of those highlight reel pancake blocks that it winds up on SportsCenter, something like that. Okay, then we're talking about them. But for most occasions, probably 90% of any type of offensive line chatter, if it's non-existent, it's very, very good.
Yeah, Searles is always quick to say that it's always their fault when the offense doesn't play well. And when they do have a great game, it's, man, the running back is unbelievable and ran so well. And, the quarterback and the wide receivers, it's never a credit to the offensive line.
But I will
say Emmett is very, very quick to always point back the credit. But it's kind of true, though, unfortunately, for those guys. That's why they stick together.
Sometimes, you see a running back fumble sometimes, and people will be like, "Well, the offensive line isn't doing their job." That's why it's like, whoa! They're the ones that are swiping the ball away from the running back. Come on.
Also, I did want to confirm. We talked about this last night with Caleb when we aired Caleb Benning's interview, and I said I think he's bigger. And so I asked Damon last night, and he said that he's up to 201, and he was 184 this time a year ago, and he also ran a sub 4.5 yesterday and is also part of the 22 mile per hour club. What's cool about that too is he's one of a number of, I'll say probably at least close to a dozen guys that can hit that speed on this football team. I said this, and I think this is where maybe you see a lot of the differences. I think, in my perspective, I am obviously not a huge expert, but I think it's pretty glaring how much speed that this, especially on the defensive side of the ball, that how much speed there is.
And as long as that's utilized in the right way, I'm all for it, because there have been teams in the past that have been dubbed as a very fast team, a lot of speed, going to get them out in space. Just look out. If that speed is coming with that type where they always talk about the contact that what am I forgetting here? The RDV, is that still going on? Is that still a thing right now? The violent contact that they talk about a lot. Yeah, as long as that speed is mixed with that violent contact, I'm all for it.
All right, so we've got to get to a break here. Coming up on the other side of this, we're going to talk some men's tennis. The head coach, Peter Kobelt, coming off one of the best seasons in Nebraska men's tennis program history. So we're going to chat with him, get an update on all things Husker tennis and everything going on this summer. Woodhouse has been a trusted partner in your everyday since 1975. Shop for your next vehicle with the home team at Woodhouse and the official auto dealer of Nebraska Athletics. Keep it here.
We just want to have enough money for retirement.
And travel to visit our grandchildren.
I understand. That's why at Fisher Investments, we start by getting to know each other.
so I can learn about your family, lifestyle, goals, and needs, allowing us to tailor your portfolio.
What about commission-based products?
We don't sell those. We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in your best interest.
So how do your management fees work?
We have a simple management fee based on the value of your portfolio, so we do better when you do better.
We appreciate that kind of transparency.
We also check in with you regularly to keep you up to date on the markets and your portfolio.
Well, what other services do you offer?
As a client, you have access to resources on investing, financial planning, estate planning, Social Security, Medicare, and more.
Wow, sounds like Fisher Investments has everything we need.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at fisherinvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
I would have never had the chance to see my daughter become a doctor.
Because my mom wore her seatbelt that day, I get to hug her when I go home.
And then it clicked. Because I wore my seatbelt, I learned that one moment in time can change a person's life forever.
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
The day we were hit was the second to last day of our high school careers.
We were about to graduate as best friends together.
And then it clicked. Because we wore our seatbelt that day, we still get to experience life together.
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic for better health. Why chiropractic? Because it's safe, drug-free, and a cost-effective treatment option for back and joint pain. Plus, all generations can benefit from natural chiropractic care. Choose chiropractic first for pain relief or to improve your mobility, athletic performance, or overall wellness. Make chiropractic your first choice for better health and find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraskachiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
When you're in the stands and have the ability to control your irrigation in the field, it's a game-changing moment. Valley is where farming meets end zone efficiency. With AgSense remote irrigation technology, farmers become the MVPs of their fields. Experience real-time, play-by-play action and control that keeps you ahead. Score big with irrigation technology from Valley. It's technology that improves your life and lets you be at the game and in the game. Find your local Valley dealer at valleyirrigation.com.
Shop Woodhouse Mazda during the Mazda More to Move You sales event. Receive 1.9% APR for 60 months on the full lineup of 2025 Mazda CX-50s and CX-50 hybrids, plus no payments for 90 days. Visit us in-store or online at woodhousemazda.com or woodhouseplacemazda.com today. With approved credit, tax title license extra when financed through Mazda Financial Services. $299 doc fee due at signing. Stock number X250190 and X250600. Offer expires July 31st, 2025. See dealer for details.
For farmers, sustainability is a way of life. 97% of farms are family-owned, and 95% are participating in conservation programs and using sustainable practices.
I'm Ann Meese, a farmer near Elgin, Nebraska. I grew up on this land, and we're dedicated to being good stewards and leaving it better for the next generation.
Since 1980, U.S. soybean farmers have boosted production by 130%, all while lowering emissions and improving land and water use. Nebraska soybeans, feeding, fueling, and innovating for the future.
I got to see my brother get married.
I would have missed my dad's birthday.
Because I wore my seatbelt, I had the privilege of being part of his special day.
I got to go home and see my family again.
Does it click yet?
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
I would have never had the chance to see my daughter become a doctor.
I was able to go to my brother's graduation.
I wouldn't have adopted my first pet.
And then it clicked. My seatbelt saved my life. Does it click yet?
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Woodhouse has been a trusted partner in your everyday since 1975. Shop for your next vehicle with the home team at Woodhouse and the official auto dealer of Nebraska Athletics. I'm Jessica Coody and excited to be joined by the head coach from Nebraska men's tennis, Peter Kobelt, a familiar face, but your first time in the studio. How do you like our new digs in this new studio, I guess? You were at the old studio quite a few times.
Yeah, I mean, every time I come down, it's fun, but this is pretty amazing. Nebraska doesn't cut any corners when it comes to facilities, that's for sure.
Well, how's the summer going?
Summer's been great. A lot of our guys are out playing, training, getting better. We obviously lost 4 guys from our team, so a lot of it's been recruiting. Our assistant, Brett's overseas right now recruiting on a big recruiting trip. He'll be back in a week or so. And then, we're going to Kalamazoo, which is the biggest American tournament watch a bunch of kids play at the first week of August, and then before you know it, it's time. Everyone's coming back, and we'll be getting to work in the fall season. So.
You guys are coming off a historic season for Nebraska men's tennis, made it to the postseason for the first time since 2011. The win total continues to grow, but your second season as a head coach, the last time we talked to you, you were in it. You were about to take on Texas A&M down there in the NCAA tournament. How do you reflect on last year and what your team was able to accomplish?
I'm starting to realize, when you hear other head coaches talk, they're not really able to reflect super well just because there's so many things going on. Mm-hmm. But I've been able to take a step back a couple times this summer and just be like, well, wow, some of the things that we've done here is pretty remarkable. Some of the other alumni sending out messages and congratulating me. Some people that maybe I didn't think were paying attention that said congratulations. So some of those things are nice, but at the same time, we had a very old team last year, and now we lose almost half of our team, and nobody cares about what you did last year anymore. It's about what you're doing today and what you're doing right now. So obviously the focus is on getting better and making sure that we're taking the right steps to keep elevating the program year after year after year. I think that's a true testament of what a good program is continuously getting better. So those are the expectations that I put on myself and put on the program and put on the team. And it's not easy, but, we're here to win. Nebraska wants to win, so do the people here. So whether it's football or tennis, I think everyone can get behind a winning program. So
absolutely, 1,000%. And on that note, the Directors' Cup standings, Nebraska finished the highest finish since 2010. And that takes everybody. Your team contributed to that.
For sure.
What did that mean to you to see just this athletics department do something that hadn't been done here in a while?
Well, there's a lot of really good coaches here. A lot of coaches have been here a long time that have won a lot. So you kind of, when you go to these head coaches meetings, you kind of sit back and you listen and you watch and you try and take notes and talk to some of these coaches that have been successful here. I think it's one thing to be successful, but everywhere you go, I think you try and figure out how you can be successful where you are. And just talking to some of the other coaches like Rhonda Ravel, and I was good, Coach Cook took me under his arm a little bit before he left, and just trying to learn the landscape and figure out how to be successful here is important to me. But yeah, just excited to be around so many successful people. I think the people that you surround yourself with, that's how you, in life, that's the direction you're going to go, and being around so many other coaches that have done well here is only motivating for me to make sure that we keep holding up our end over at the tennis center.
How great is that? How many people can say they had a mentor like John Cook?
Well, I mean, I don't know why he took an interest to me, but he invited me to a practice with the girls one day. He came over. We had an ATP event last summer at the tennis facility, and he brought all the girls over for a day, and we sat and talked for 30 minutes. I know he is and was a super busy guy, but I don't know. Maybe he saw a little bit of me and him. I'm not sure. We've never gotten that far with it. But next time he's in town, he promised me a coffee. So I don't know when he's back in town. But John, I'm waiting for your coffee whenever you're back. So
he said that he's busier now than he was when he was coaching.
I can imagine. There's a lot of what is it? Horses to wrangle.
Yes, the roping and the rodeoing and all of that. What were some of the things that you took away from just learning and observing what he did as a head coach?
He when we were speaking, we were kind of comparing tennis and volleyball and how they're actually pretty similar. There's a serve, there's a return, there's quick reactions, split second decision making. They're both explosive sports. He actually had me come over and talk to the girls about split stepping, because in tennis you have to split step right before you hit a tennis ball. In volleyball, I guess that was the point he was trying to make to the girls when he was coaching that day. So, but I think it's just his overall demeanor, and I think he said that he really evolved as a coach over his time as a coach. I think he really relied on his staff a lot towards the back end of his career, which I think is important. I think as a head coach, your job is to empower everyone around you at the absolute most you can, so you get the most out of them, and they stay motivated and things like that. But at the same time, like, you're the focal point of the program, so you have to be the driving force, and you have to make sure things are getting done, and you have to hold the standard, and you have to hold your staff accountable, and little things like that. So I think he kind of does all that just with his personality. He did a really good job of it, but yeah, I mean, those are just a few of the things that I noticed, and just talking to them was pretty cool.
Yeah, great stuff. Okay, so you talked about losing a really impressive senior class that did a lot for you and when you took over as head coach. But for the guys that did have the experience last year of what you were able to do and getting to the postseason, how important was that? What do you hope they take away and carry over into the fall season and then into next spring?
I think it's just the standard. I think it's just we have too many resources here. The facility's amazing. The training table's amazing. Even coming down here, this is an amazing resource for them. There's a psychology department, athletic training department, the weight room, the academic support, life skills. Like, you just go down the list, and it's just like, we have to be doing well here. So that's kind of the standard I put on myself. But I really think that, last year's over with. That hurdle of getting to the NCAA tournament, for the third time in program history, or the first time since 2011, whatever you want to say, is great. But if we keep thinking about that stuff, like we're just going to get caught up, like, oh, we did good last year. That it's about how do we get better right now, today, and that's the focus each and every day. And keeping them focused here in the present, is the key. And holding each and every one of them accountable when they don't want to be held accountable is probably the trick of the trade when it comes to when they're actually here. So. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much my focus now is what are we doing right now today to get better? And I'm sitting down with you, so.
Hey, so when you are replacing a senior class like you had last year that played a lot of tennis and were a big part of your lineup, what are you looking for to replace some of those guys? And I think you guys got a couple pieces already that you're pretty excited about, but how do you kind of fill that large class that had such a big impact?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously Calvin Mueller was a 2-time first team All Big Ten representative. Those guys are hard to replace in recruiting. It's really hard for a freshman or even a transfer to come in and do those sort of things. And now with how recruiting is and NIL and revenue sharing, like that's all trickling down into tennis, if anyone was wondering. But yeah, it's harder than ever to bring in a guy like that to come in and play number one. But the guys that we have coming back, we're going to have a heavy senior class again, 3 or 4 more seniors for sure, maybe a 5th. And we're going to rely on their experience and some of their, just overall leadership for some of the younger guys that are coming in that we really like, that are talented, and try and mesh that culture the best we can. And in tennis, you got to find 4 points. There's a doubles point, and then there's 6 singles points. So, we got a few from number 1 and number 2 last year. Maybe we get a few more from number 5 and number 6 this year. You kind of got to do a good job mixing and mashing the lineups a little bit, but that's kind of up to me and the coaching staff, and then making sure our guys are ready to compete and perform when January comes around. So.
When you're out recruiting, what are some of the characteristics other than providing those points and being able to add to the lineup? What kind of characteristics are you guys looking for specifically that fit Nebraska tennis and what you hope to implement?
Yeah, I got there's a list on my wall. There's 5 things that I look at for each recruit, and I try my best to really stay in that alley, go down with these 5 characteristics. And obviously the tennis and the talent and all those things matter, but. You got to be ultra competitive, number 1. Number 2, you have to have relentless effort each and every single day. 3, you got to really understand the game. You have to have some kind of an intelligence layer where you can adapt and adjust your game within the game. Tennis is one of those sports where you're kind of out there by yourself, even though there's a coach. And then 4, when the big moment comes, do you step up or do you step down? And then number 5 is when everything else is going wrong. Are you a decent enough athlete to make balls and make it really hard for your opponent to beat you? So those are the 5 things that we look at in that order. Not every recruit has all 5, but we try to be pretty non-negotiable with number 1 and number 2. And I think we can help with the rest. But each recruit's a little bit different. They all come from different places. We recruit literally the entire planet. So. We look under every rock and every nook and every corner that we can to find the right guys, and then it's once they're here, it's our job to kind of develop them and get them better at what they need to get better at. So that's kind of the path that I take in recruiting. It makes recruiting a little more difficult because your pool of athletes is smaller, but when you do get the right person and they do come here, I feel like the trajectory of their development is going to be better just because you have the right guy. So
I think people might be interested to hear, when right after you guys made the announcement that you would be going to the postseason, Troy Dannon had his athletic director show on, and he was just so complimentary and so excited about you as a young head coach. Maybe if you could give us a little bit of your perspective of what it's like working with him as a leader and why you enjoy so much working underneath him as the athletic director here at Nebraska.
Well, everyone always gives me a hard time, but I always call him Mr. Dannon. I don't know why, but that's just my sign of respect.
Well, I call him Coach Dannon sometimes by accident because I'm so used to talking to coaches.
Every time I see him, I'm Mr. Dannon. He's like, why you call me Mr. Dannon? Call me Troy. I'm like, nah, I'm still earning my stripes around here. But obviously, when I was making the transition from interim head coach to head coach, I was his first hire. And he sat down with me and he vetted me pretty thoroughly, and he wanted to make sure I was the right guy. And I think he sees my passion and my desire. And obviously, I've had success as a player, in my previous stops, and I had some success at my first coaching stop at Kentucky. So I think he, for where the program's at and for what we're trying to do, I think he sees me as a young leader with a lot of energy and a lot of focus on what we need to do. And he's been very supportive, not just of like the bigger sports. Obviously, football and volleyball and basketball are going to get what they need to be successful, but it's trickled down into tennis, and he's helped out already with us with a few different things. And some things I've asked for, he said yes to. So I think he's doing that with all the sports here, and I think people in that are Nebraska fans should be really excited about the future of not just the bigger programs here, but all of them. I think that people have an affinity for a lot of different sports, and Mr. Dannon wants to win in all of them, and I think that's the reason why we had such a good year in the Directors Cup. What would we finish 22nd? 21st. Yeah. I mean, that's remarkable. So that's just a sign of the overall success of the athletic department. And it's not just the coaches and the teams, but it's the whole spectrum of, everything coming together. And I think he's done a wonderful job of connecting all the dots.
All right, last thing I got for you, just how can Husker Nation help you? You talk about this fan base wanting a winner and being supportive. What can they do to support you right now?
Come out and watch tennis. It's free. It's free. It's if people want to know where the facility is, 2400 North Antelope Parkway, and if you don't know where that is, it's connected. It's the same facility as the women's soccer stadium, Hibner. So if you don't know where the tennis center is, it's literally the same parking lot, the same entrance, the same everything to Hibner Stadium. We play in the spring, January through May. We got a great group of guys. We got a great staff. We have an amazing facility, probably one of the nicer facilities that an athletic program can have here. And come out and support and be a part of our journey. So
great stuff as always. Appreciate you stopping by our news studio, giving us an update, and we look forward to chatting with you soon.
Thanks, Jessica. Appreciate you having me on.
Peter Kobelt, the head coach for men's tennis, joining us here on Sports Nightly. We've got to step aside for a break. More of the show coming up right after this.
You're going to feel a puff of air.
Jong's Optometry has set their sights on staffing up.
Try the next line. Hey, Kim, can you tell our 2 o'clock we're running 15 behind? Sorry, we're a bit backed up today.
He needs an optometric technician to keep an eye on it all.
Where are the dilation drops?
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Dear Truckin' Awesome. Want more horsepower in the stable? The Tundra iForce Max is the most powerful Tundra ever. With its electrifying twin-turbo V6, you got everything you need. Saddle up the Tacoma TRD Pro. Its segment-first performance seats are designed to smooth out the shocks when the ride gets bumpy. The Toyota 4Runner is part mean streak, part wild side, and an all-around icon. Check out that signature power rear window, will ya? Yes, sir, Toyota trucks. Find yours at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
See your Omaha Metro and Lincoln Toyota dealers, Corwin Toyota of Bellevue, Village Point Toyota of Omaha, Baxter Toyota of La Vista, or Baxter Toyota of Lincoln.
On game day, every play counts. Now imagine having the same level of control in your field. Valley is where farming meets end zone efficiency. With AgSense remote irrigation technology, farmers become the MVPs of their fields. Real-time, play-by-play control means you're always ahead of the game. Score big with simplified irrigation technology from Valley, improving your life both on and off the field. Find your local Valley dealer at valleyirrigation.com.
Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic for better health. Why chiropractic? Because it's safe, drug-free, and a cost-effective treatment option for back and joint pain. Plus, all generations can benefit from natural chiropractic care. Choose chiropractic first for pain relief or to improve your mobility, athletic performance, or overall wellness. Make chiropractic your first choice for better health and find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraskachiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
I would have never had the chance to see my daughter become a doctor.
Because my mom wore her seatbelt that day, I get to hug her when I go home.
And then it clicked. Because I wore my seatbelt, I learned that one moment in time can change a person's life forever.
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
The day we were hit was the second to last day of our high school careers.
We were about to graduate as best friends together.
And then it clicked. Because we wore our seatbelt that day, we still get to experience life together.
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Nebraska soybeans power everyday products, from Goodyear tires and Skechers shoes to soy-based turf and fire suppressants. These innovations replace petroleum and utilize other components of the soybean, leading to more sustainable products worldwide.
I'm Doug Sadoff, a farmer near Trumbull, Nebraska. Thanks to cutting-edge research, soybeans are now in everything from tires to turf. It's amazing to see how these advancements are unlocking new potential for our crops.
Soybeans are a win for every product and everyone. Nebraska soybeans, feeding, fueling, and innovating for the future.
Hey Huskers, stop by your local Hy-Vee where they've lowered prices on thousands of the items you use every day. Hy-Vee dedicated to making your life easier, healthier, and happier. Welcome back to Sports Nightly. It is time to make some golf picks, as we like to do going into every major tournament. Nick has not done well this season. I have done very well. So we're going to actually include Kyle for the first time here tonight, and so he's going to participate with us. But before we do, listen, I said earlier, and Nick was saying I was taking a shot at you with when you walked by, when Henry Lutovsky walked by you yesterday, and you said, wow, that's a Big Ten offensive lineman, and I said we might need to get you a step stool for that's just how big Henry is. You even said that,
well,
right?
It's a semi-shot, but I didn't take it as a shot. I mean, the dude is massive. So I interviewed Andrew DeClercq, who's was a center on the 94 Florida Gators team. Nick, I don't know if you remember him, but if you Google him, he's like 7'6". So I'm standing on like multiple suitcases. There's a picture of me standing on 2 full suitcases interviewing him. So I don't take any offense, because if I'm not 7 foot, I'm not 6 foot, 300 pounds. Like that's all good. I just Henry Lutovsky is a big dude. That's what you need to win, right?
That was more so as I was trying to get across.
It was a shot. It was a shot. But I don't take offense, because look, I'm a shorter guy.
I was trying to say you're appreciative. You were appreciative of the size that you saw rolling through there by the offensive lineman. That was the point I was trying to make.
And in my job, I interview a lot of people. I would say 99.9% of people that I interview are much, much larger than I am. So.
Okay, well, I texted you earlier. You said you were down. The guys in the chat wanted you to be a part of this, so. You're going to participate in our golf picks. We do a draft, a snake draft, and pick 3 golfers. The person that has the highest winnings between your 3 golfers wins. But you're down, right? It doesn't take much to beat Nick, so no pressure.
Again, another shot. Last. Can we tally the amount of shots that Jessica has taken?
Some days I just
segment?
get on a different roll than others. So
I just didn't want to. I texted you. I said I don't follow it closely. I used to be locked in. So when I was in high school, middle school, I was all about golf. Like I remember sitting in front of the TV watching Rocco against Tiger in the 18-hole U.S. Open playoff on that Monday. I was obsessed, but I just don't want to be a phony and tell the audience that I'm on top of my golf. But I'll have 3 golfers ready to go, and it sounds like I'll beat Nick anyway.
Yeah, it doesn't take much. It doesn't take much.
Another shot, by the way.
I'm wearing them just left and right here.
Not as bad as my shots.
He supposedly is going to make some tweaks. I don't know. We'll see. But On the flip side of that, I've won every time this year, so I am the defending champion. So I get to pick first. That's the luxury that I get, and I am not going to even, make this try to skirt around this. I'm going with Scotty Scheffler. There's.
Oh, you really
I
went
know.
out on a limb there.
I don't even care that that's not an out on the limb pick. So that's what
Scotty's
happens
comments
when you win.
maybe worry you though? Scotty's talking about how he's like, this isn't a very fulfilling lifestyle and everything. All of a sudden, he's just he says, "Yeah, if I win the Open, cool. It'll be really awesome for 2 minutes." Like,
No, I think
Scotty's in a weird
he's got no
place.
pressure going into it, so he's just going to go ball out. So. That's the perks you get when you win. You get to pick first, so I'll go with Scotty Scheffler.
You know what? That's fair.
Okay, so Kyle, we'll let you go second.
Xander Schauffele is 25-1, and just because I like his name.
That's normally Nick's guy, so.
Okay, so it sounds like I'm going to lose here.
Not great.
Xander Schauffele's my pick.
Okay, Camden, you're up.
All right, I'm going to go with John
Actually,
Rahm.
I should make Nick pick third because it's better to be fourth in a snake draft. So, Nick, you got to go next.
No, let Camden go.
No, because
Camden
needs back-to-back picks. So, Nick, you have to have the worst spot because you finished last. So, you're next.
All right, fine. Then I'm going Rory McIlroy.
All right.
Need I say more?
All right, Camden, you got back-to-back.
Okay, John Rahm. And I'm going to go Victor Hovland.
Oh, that's who I was going to pick.
Yeah, me too.
All right.
All right, give me Shane Lowry.
All right.
Got a theme going here.
All right, Kyle, you're back up.
Tommy Fleetwood.
No, that was the other guy.
Oh, sounds like I'm going to be the winner.
Yeah. So I was over at basketball today, ran into Jalen Reyes, huge golf guy. And I asked him, and he said, I asked him for his pick, and he said he's due for one, so he feels good about that. Listen, I also asked Price Sanford about who he would pick, and so I'll go with his pick here. He said Colin Morikawa, so I'll go with Colin.
Oh, okay.
And how about Oberg? All right, Kyle, you're back up.
I'm thinking, so we picked Shane Lowry, correct? Justin Thomas. Yep. Anybody take Justin Thomas?
It's also a Nick guy.
Oh, well, I'm really trending in the wrong direction here.
Kyle, God bless you. Thank you for doing this.
Somebody had to come in to make sure Nick started to win.
No, watch. So Xander and JT will finally show out, too. That's what's going to happen.
Maybe.
Okay, Nick, you're back up.
All right, so remember, I've avoided this guy for so long because he is just, you can't trust him. But Mr. Jordan Spieth, welcome in their third child last week, Sully Spieth. And he's past his injuries. He's going to play carefree. And he has had 4 in his last 5 British Open. He's had some top 10s there. I'm going Jordan Spieth finally.
Wow. Okay.
Playing free.
I see one glaring guy we're missing, Camden. You got it?
I don't know. Do I?
Well, who are you going with?
I'm going to go Tyrell Hatton.
It's a good pick, but nobody went with Bryson DeChambeau this time.
Yeah.
I don't think his game is great for link-style golf. That's just my opinion. I know my opinion when it comes to this doesn't mean a lot, but I'm just saying.
It doesn't.
Nick, let me ask you, if you had to, this is not part of the snake draft, but if you had to pick an outside dark horse is the phrase we like to use in sports. If you had to pick a guy who was maybe 170-ish, 100-1 to win the Open, who do you got?
See, I'll give you a 75-1, but he just won the Travelers and Keegan Bradley.
Okay.
So I don't know if if I'm necessarily going out on a limb. Here, I'll give you one.
Hey,
I did have this guy written down. Cameron Young at 90-1. He has fared well at the British Open, plays really well with link-style golf too. So Cameron Young would be sort of that dark horse 90-1 type guy that I would, if I had to go that route, I would be comfortable doing so.
Hey, can we give a little shout out to Camden, who was the first person to pick Keegan Bradley, and we were questioning it, and he ended up winning. He ended up doing whatever. I don't even know what major that was.
Well, he won the Travelers. That was the one that Fleetwood had, and then Fleetwood missed just a
but it was a major,
putt.
And Camden picked Keegan, and we were all like, Keegan, that's random. And then he ended up
top 10,
doing well.
Yeah, I think that was the PG. I think that was the PGA Championship. He finished in the top 10.
I feel like the Open is one of those, though. We could sit here and it is the most, I feel like, crapshoot of how this thing goes. It seems like every year.
Well, the weather, we're supposed to have weird, right? Rain up until Sunday. Sunday's supposed to be pretty
cloudy,
nice.
overcast, and rain for an open.
Yep.
All right. Well, there we go. There's our picks for this one. So I got Scotty, Morikawa, and Oberg. Kyle's got Xander, Tommy, Justin Thomas. I hope I can even read my writing. You guys should see this. Nick's got Rory, Shane, Lowry, and Jordan Spieth. And Camden has John Rahm, Victor Hovland, and Hatton, right?
Camden's got a group there, by the way. I like
Camden's got a good trio.
Hatton's
all right.
a good call.
Good stuff. We'll see how we all fare on Monday's show.
I feel good.
All right. We got to get to a break. We're back to wrap up hour number 2 next.
Woodhouse Hyundai makes it simple to shop for your next vehicle. Receive 0% APR for 60 months on the 2025 Hyundai Palisade and 2025 Hyundai Santa Fe. And when you shop Woodhouse Hyundai, you can rest easy with Hyundai Owner's Assurance, America's best 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Visit us online at woodhousehyundai.com or woodhouseplacehyundai.com today. With approved credit, tax title license extra. Must finance with Hyundai Motor Finance. $299 doc fee due at signing. Offer expires July 31st, 2025. See dealer for details.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic for better health. Why chiropractic? Because it's safe, drug-free, and a cost-effective treatment option for back and joint pain. Plus, all generations can benefit from natural chiropractic care. Choose chiropractic first for pain relief or to improve your mobility, athletic performance, or overall wellness. Make chiropractic your first choice for better health and find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraskachiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
Experience exceptional quality and lasting value at Woodhouse Toyota. Lease the 2024 Toyota Tacoma SR RWD Extra Cab for $299 a month for 36 months and 10,000 miles per year. Visit us in store off Highway 281 in Grand Island or online at woodhousetoyota.com. Woodhouse Toyota. Let's go places. With approved credit, tax title license extra, security deposit waived, $2,499 plus first payment and $299 doc fee due at signing. Stock number GT250034. Offer expires 7/31/2025. See dealer for details.
The Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center is sponsored by Akrs, the Midwest premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Akrs, solutions for every field. Welcome back. A final couple minutes here left of Sports Nightly, this Wednesday night edition. What a fun show. We had a jam-packed show. Talked some baseball with Mason McConaughey. We had obviously Peter Kobelt, talked some men's tennis, heard from Gunnar Gulla, some offensive lines, so got it all covered. And we're going to have a fun show coming up tomorrow night as well, as we continue to bring you some of those conversations with the football players throughout these next couple of weeks, because, hey, by the 28th, it's going to be fall camp time, so we'll be talking fall camp. So we're catching up with a few of these guys here over these next couple of weeks. So we'll hear from Tristan Alvano. We heard from the punter, Archie Wilson, who I saw today and told him that everybody here liked his interview and that we're using I Reckon and all of that, and he thought that was great. So he told him people are going to want to hear much more from him coming up, but he got a kick out of that. So we'll hear from Tristan Alvano, the kicker, coming off his a season where he was sidelined for an injury and the West Side product, and started as a freshman, but then unfortunately had to step aside and get healthy last year. So we'll hear from him how he's faring, and now that he's finally healthy as well. So got a fun 2 hours for you coming up tomorrow night. And Tom Welter, we said earlier in the week that Kyle was going to be chatting with a few of the newest inductees into the Nebraska Football Hall of Fame. So we'll bring you another one of those conversations tomorrow night in Tom Welter. So great conversation there. So that's going to do it for us. Camden's feeling great about his golf picks going into tomorrow. So I hope this is not the week that I get derailed. But that's going to do it for us. Thanks for listening and watching. Thanks to Russ and Camden, Kyle and Nick, and everybody that's a part of this one. Have a great night. We'll talk to you tomorrow for another full 2 hours of Sports Nightly right here on the Huskers Radio Network.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
When you're in the stands and have the ability to control your irrigation in the field, it's a game-changing moment. Valley is where farming meets end zone efficiency. With AgSense remote irrigation technology, farmers become the MVPs of their fields. Experience real-time, play-by-play action and control that keeps you ahead. Score big with irrigation technology from Valley. It's technology that improves your life and lets you be at the game and in the game. Find your local Valley dealer at valleyirrigation.com.
Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic for better health. Why chiropractic? Because it's safe, drug-free, and a cost-effective treatment option for back and joint pain. Plus, all generations can benefit from natural chiropractic care. Choose chiropractic first for pain relief or to improve your mobility, athletic performance, or overall wellness. Make chiropractic your first choice for better health and find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraskachiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
I got to see my brother get married.
I would have missed my dad's birthday.
Because I wore my seatbelt, I had the privilege of being part of his special day.
I got to go home and see my family again.
Does it click yet?
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
I would have never had the chance to see my daughter become a doctor.
I was able to go to my brother's graduation.
I wouldn't have adopted my first pet.
And then it clicked. My seatbelt saved my life. Does it click yet?
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
If there's one thing Nebraska's known for, it's our beef. And Nebraska soybeans feed a lot of them, and even more pigs and chickens.
I'm Jason Pinky, a farmer near Craig, Nebraska. Soybeans are vital for feeding our livestock, and they're also a powerhouse protein source for people worldwide. Our world needs protein, and Nebraska soybeans are making a difference.
From tailgate grills to global plates, farmers deliver affordable, nutritious protein to build muscle and energy for everyone. Nebraska soybeans, feeding, fueling, and innovating for the future.